Iraq, the cradle of civilization. It was on the fertile banks of the Euphrates and the Tigris rivers where reading, writing, mathematics and civil laws were all first introduced. With a phenomenal ancient past and an exciting future ahead, Iraqis are eagerly looking forward to writing a new chapter in their country's history. It's a land that will fill your heart with warmth from a people who are quite frankly the epitome of hospitality. In order to go to Babylon, it's approximately a 2-hour drive south of Baghdad. It's a pretty easy drive. Good morning from Babylon. The gate here was built in 1958. It's a remodel of the original. The original is actually in a museum in Germany.
I am Makki Muhammad. I work tour guide in Babylon City. The born here in Babylon me. The house me in Babylon. And I live this here. Before, in 1958, my father worked here in Ishtar Gate. And the grandfather, another, I work here in Babylon City. Me, I work here about 30 years.
30 years,
Yes.
wow.
This place, the whole holy place, they mentioned in Bible, they mentioned the holy book in Quran Kareem. This place very, very important.
Yes,
Because
in history. So it was built by Nebuchadnezzar II.
Yes. This now, this Babylon city for Nebuchadnezzar II. The name New Babylonia. The old Babylonia, 15 meters for King Hammurabi.
Okay, so Hammurabi's Babylon was 15
but
meters
cannot
lower.
see because underground water.
It's underground.
The first under deep village, the village name Kadingarra, the gate of God. 3000 BC, upper 1792 BC for Hammurabi,
BC.
and this now for New Babylonia for King Nebuchadnezzar II. This capital city, this empire city.
Okay, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Let's go and discover Babylon City
Yes.
together. Let's go. Okay, so we can see here on the walls where the original foundations were at the bottom, the original brickwork, which is now like 10 meters, 8 meters underground. The brickwork on top was done in 1987 by Saddam. So it's a bit too perfect and it wasn't approved by UNESCO.
This gate for king and the queen just. The gate are not straight for the voice echo and cannot see direct. Foundation original, this renewed for Saddam in 1987.
So this is exactly this scene.
What time this
The keys.
Okay.
Keys. And like Mekki just said, it's got the tail of a snake. At the end of the tail is like a scorpion. The feet of a lion. The body... What is the body of?
Fish.
A fish. The body of a fish and the head of a dragon. Wow. That's a mixed up animal. But the idea was so it could go everywhere. Wall here we have some cuneiform text, inscription, done by King Nebuchadnezzar. It says to the effect, I am the king here and I built this. Mekki's just shown me an original piece of the Ishtar Gate. Incredible to touch it when it's so old. He says this is for the upper gate. It's amazing to touch it, something so old.
Ceramic.
It's ceramic, it's not paint.
Yes.
So I've come across this tablet which is perfectly 32 centimeters by 32 centimeters and 8 centimeters deep all the way around, and the text on it says, "I am King Nebuchadnezzar, and here is the gate of God," referring to Ishtar Gate. And what's really amazing is they used a form of asphalt to join together the bricks, and after every few layers of bricks they added reeds to help reinforce the structure. You can see more cuneiform on this one here. It's really quite amazing and incredible to touch it. This is the lion statue, made of basalt rock. Perhaps they say the rocks were brought from Syria. I gather Iraq doesn't have any basalt. So here we're looking at the maze or labyrinth, which were the offices of the administrative workers for the king, but it also served as a detraction to getting to the king, because the king's rooms were behind the maze, and this protected him from enemies or people that weren't familiar with the inside of the palace. And Saddam couldn't help but to have a plaque in his name too. I mean, in a way, maybe fair enough. He did rebuild it like others. Anyway, it says, "I am Saddam Hussein, President of the Republic of Iraq, and I built this," basically. This is the throne hall for King Nebuchadnezzar, and when Alexander and his troops came through here, Alexander stayed here for a little while, perhaps because he was sick. Some say he was poisoned, but others say he caught malaria, and it was in here in the throne hall that he died in 323 BC. Okay guys, I'm absolutely dying here, honestly. It is so freaking hot. You know, phone says 47 degrees, but walking around these courtyards, I'm sure it's over 50. Not feeling the best in this heat, so gonna try and stay in the shade. Just having a look here though, this is in the palace. You can see the clever way the doorways were made. So here we have one arch and doorway, and if we look ahead, it's not lined up. So therefore you couldn't fire an arrow all the way through. So you do get some protection. And the same if I turn around and look this way. The archway for the next door across that courtyard is also not directly in line with this one. So there were some good safety measures put in place. However, the Babylonian dynasty didn't really last very long. So even though they had good safety initiatives, it didn't work. It wasn't enough. I think because Babylonians, from what I've read, were mostly fairly peaceful people for the time, and were agriculturalists, were writers, readers, thinkers. They weren't really warlike like many of the other empires of the day. So Hammurabi, Nebuchadnezzar, and so on didn't last that long. So many empires conquered this area. It's quite incredible. It's a who's who of history, to be honest. Hey, we're finished here in Babylon at the site. That was a fantastic tour, but it's so hot. Believe me, it's so hot. I was starting to feel woozy out there. Feeling a bit better now. I've been in the shade a little while. Fantastic site. Really need to come when it's a bit cooler. 25,000 dinars was the entry fee, which is a bit pricey. Now we're going to head up to Saddam's palace and check out this grandeur that Saddam built for himself. So catch you up on the hill.